right now, currently, I'm a server assistant, and I'm working to do that as to make ends meet, going in every day, working my hardest, trying to, make people's days when I see them, interactions. I'm a big believer in, you never know what someone's going through, and it doesn't matter, like, the smallest little things you go out of your way to do, like smile at someone, say hi to someone, or just ask someone how their day is, can make or break someone's day. You don't know what they could be going through or what you could say to change the direction of their day or life, because someone cares. It shows that someone cares. Why would you care about a random stranger? But if you're able to do that for someone, it could change their day. And so that's kind of what I look at when I'm going in every day at work. How can I make a difference today? Maybe it's my coworkers, maybe it's someone eating at the restaurant, whatever. But I'm really enjoying it. I'm keeping busy. It's a new schedule. It's a lot of my shifts are at night, finishing up around midnight, 2 a.m. So I'm getting used to that on that aspect. But so currently, and then I've been setting up this podcast studio, and it's finally coming to life. And it's so exciting. I have this studio. I've built it kind of from the ground up. And a lot of you have kind of seen this process over my short form social media content, where I've kind of had a break the last week or so. But all my content's going to shift towards more podcast content, more long form like, I feel like you can get a deeper level of interaction with someone through long form content. So that's where the content's going. And yeah, backtrack it a little bit, how I came to Tampa. So I actually moved to Tampa in a financial analyst role. And, the company I was working for just didn't have a great culture, wasn't learning a lot, and kind of had a lot different expectations. And on top of that, I wasn't extremely passionate or have really any interest in the finance field or what I thought I did. I didn't really know what my passions were in school. I didn't know what I wanted to pursue. And yeah, so when I quit my job, I was like, what should I do? Because this was about 3 or 4 months ago, 2 months ago-ish. And I kind of landed on, maybe I'll do this marketing agency, provide companies with marketing services to be able to get them returns on their business. But I kind of dove deep into it, and I realized, why did I want to do that? And it was kind of because it sounded like the thing that made sense. It was like what I was supposed to do, not what I was meant to do. And when I really dug down, and for me, which we'll dive into, my faith is big, and I kind of prayed about it, thought about it, and what God had for me. It was this podcast and speaking to people, relaying positivity every day through the podcast or weekly. And so that's what I ended up. I was actually at the gym, and I was talking to one of my buddies, and he was like, yeah, like, I'm with this guy. He said he's hop on your podcast. And it was this guy with a bigger following on Instagram. And I was like, well, why didn't I do that in the first place? And so I was with one of my friends, and we were hitting the sauna. Shout out to my buddy Kelton. And he was just like, well, if you're at ground zero with the marketing and you're at ground zero with the podcast, why don't you just go all in on the podcast? And I was like, huh. And I kind of thought about it for a second. I was like, well, honestly, it was just because I was scared of what others might think of saying, I'm quitting my job to go all in and on a podcast. Which kind of like, it almost sounded a little crazy to me, which, yeah, you got to kind of analyze those things and realize it. So I went home for a couple hours that day, the next day, and just thought about it. And I was like, well, I'm going to do this. I'm going to have something to support it. So that's when I started looking for jobs, got the server assistant job. And yeah, so that's how I landed on doing this, which my passion's talking to people. And at the end of the day, my purpose is I want to make a positive impact and influence on people's lives. And I feel like this is a venture and an avenue of doing that